kind of set a baseline that you're trying to hit.
And for interior guys, it's a 1.7, 110 time that you're hunting, as well as a 4.89 40.
So this is a good opportunity to fill some holes in some of these draft profiles. Only had 4 of these guys actually at the Combine in Indianapolis from this D-line group, so we'll fill this out. 4.97 unofficial time for Isaiah Bagna on his first run through. This guy who played out on the edge, Coach Kalani Sitake. 42 pressures this year. Didn't quite get home as much. Certainly had that conversation when it comes to Shamar Stewart at Texas A&M. So you get a look at Ricky Barber, one of the interior guys here, Deej.
A smooth run,
yeah.
296 pounds.
Defensive lineman number 3, Tyler is on the line.
That looked faster than 5'2", but that's what we're
he
at.
did look a little bit faster than that number.
Shorter stride at just over 6'1".
Some of it you're looking at the times, obviously, but then also just kind of how they get out, how they move around.
Yeah, and obviously we're not getting a chance to see the 10 splits here, but that is, almost more important for these guys.
This is 4 here, right? This
yes,
is Carroll.
it is.
DeBraylon Carroll.
DeBraylon Carroll from Texas Tech.
Stocky. I will go stocky at 5'10", 6, so 5'10 3/4", 291 pounds.
He's like the Willie Lampkin of defensive linemen.
There you go.
Was a guy that Coach Joey McGuire said, yeah, he's undersized, but, man, he produces. And played a lot of football there in Lubbock. 5'2", for DeBraylon Carroll. Started his career at Rice, and then ended up playing in the Big 12. All right, let's see where we end up next here is we get set for Jeff Clark. Another sub-6-footer on the defensive front, but had a chance to talk to Coach Kenny Dillingham, building something special there in Tempe, and Clark has certainly been a part of it.
Louisville transfer.
Arizona State was his 3rd stop. Began his career at Georgia State. He had some big-time sack production.
See what Jeff Clark put up here. 5'20".
Another 5'2". We're going to skip to D lineman number 7. No run for Shane Cokes out of Colorado. So Keith Cooper jump up at 6'3" and 280 pounds.
Not a lot of sacks for Houston this year.
Yeah.
He had 3.5, led the team.
Yeah, came with Coach Willie Fritz from Tulane. As a guy that they really appreciated there at Houston, and
he got out all right there. It's a good 10. We'll see how he finishes up with the 40, but looked like a good 10. 280 pounds.
5:08 is the final time there for Cooper. I got a feeling we're gonna see Houston really start to ascend. If you look at Coach Fritz's background, right, from what he brought to Tulane and even beforehand,
he's won a
built
lot
some
of
good
ball
programs.
games.
Yep.
We got Javier. Oh, yeah,
Javier Darrett from Kansas.
Boy, it's every other guy is a transfer. That's kind of the way college football is right now. North Dakota State won a couple national championships.
Sure
there.
did, twice over. 2019 and 2021. Boy, 20 is a pre-COVID player here. 2019, 5.25 is the unofficial 40 on the first run for Javier Darrett. Played in 11 games this year for the Jayhawks. Now we welcome Dalen Dotson.
This is school number 3, right, for him, or school number 2? No, we're school number 2, Tennessee Martin.
Yeah, UT Martin was a big-time player at UT Martin. Finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year award on that level of college football.
Had a little hitch.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 20 and a half sacks in his career. So knows how to finish.
Let's see what we got here.
5-1-3 is UCF transfers leadership to Scott Frost. Back in the saddle once again there in Orlando.
I hired my former head coach, or my former teammate actually at App State, who was just the head coach most recently at App State. Sean Clark is the offensive line coach there at UCF. So
that's a great hire.
It's a fantastic hire.
This is an interesting one here. Obi Ezigbo. We talked about Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State. I'm curious to see if we'll get a chance to watch run. But Oliver got hurt, and Ezigbo transferred in from D2 Gannon and ended up having to jump into some major reps, maybe a little bit before he was ready, just to account for the injury to Oliver. Playing 65, 70 reps a game.
Do we still have Bucky down there?
Yeah, I'm sitting here, guys.
I'm wondering if Bucky could hear us, because
I can hear.
Gannon. I mean, I've rarely to not hear of a school, because we've scouted all over the country and been everywhere. I had never heard of Gannon until I
guarantee
read that.
Bucky knows Gannon. What do you got?
Yeah, no, I don't have anything.
Oh,
Gannon.
come on!
I don't have anything.
All right.
I know a bunch of schools. I've never.
Golden Knights, in case you were wondering.
The Gannon Golden Knights kind of rolls off the tongue, to be honest.
I mean, I like the alliteration, but wow, Gannon. Golden.
You want to take a guess on the state for Gannon, Buck? Go ahead.
Let's go with somewhere in southeast Oklahoma, maybe.
That's a good guess. Pennsylvania, right? Didn't I say Pennsylvania?
Yeah, you did say Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so actually, it wasn't close. It was a terrible guess.
Yeah. Conference, PSAC. But stepped up in competition did OB Ezigbo there in Stillwater this year, and stepped into a really leading role in that defense, trying to replace Oliver, who had garnered so much attention around that program, building that defense up around him. And so Ezigbo jumped into that role and ran a 4.88 right there.
Yeah, and again, you're seeing edge guys mixed in with
That's right.
DTs, so you're going to see a variance here on the times.
But that is our leader in the clubhouse as it stands right now. Although we're going to get a second run from these guys if they choose to do so. Van Fillinger from Utah. This will be another one off the edge here at 247 pounds. 6 sacks this year for the Utes.
Defensive lineman number 12, Caleb
Fillinger,
we get here.
a little bit under 33-inch arms, 247 pounds, 4.95. Somebody, we're waiting for somebody to kind of go get it here.
I think we're gonna get some.
Caleb Fox,
TCU guys played a ton of ball for Sonny Dykes.
Another compact.
Transferred in
DT.
from Stephen F. Austin.
is not here.
5.38 for Caleb Fox, who followed his defensive line coach Marcus McFarland from Stephen F. Austin to TCU. Started the last 25 games the last 2 years there at TCU.
Jonathan Good,
big one.
second here.
Let's go.
Again, 6-footer. You got a little stumble in there. £328. Didn't see a lot of action there at Houston. Let's see how he ran. 5.5. There we go.
No, 5.50.
Oh, five. Yeah, you got me when you said
5.0 would have been
5.0. It's
pretty
like,
dang good
geez.
for 3:30.
Yeah, 5.50.
All right. Say hello to the Big 12 Defensive Newcomer of the Year, B.J. Green II. More.
Let's see what BJ has for us again
Played
here.
for Kenny Dillingham in 2023 there at Arizona State before moving on to Colorado. He's up there.
He's moving. He's moving.
Oh, yeah.
He's moving.
That's going to be our time
I feel
right
like
here.
that's our leader in the clubhouse
Let's
right there.
go.
What do you got for us, BJ Green? Give me a good time.
We have defensive lineman number 16, TJ.
Now we're talking. 470.
Yeah, see?
Now
Here
we're
we
talking.
go. I knew somebody's going to go ahead and take this thing. BJ Green, that a boy.
All right, he's got the torch right now. Let's see if he ends up having to pass it on or not. There's a look at DJ in a former life, sitting there in the bleachers.
We didn't have laptops when Bucky and I were sitting at these pro days, I can tell you that much. We had a clipboard and an APT sheet, Buck, and we were filling those things out with all the numbers and then having to go back to the hotel and manually insert them.
Would you send those reports back in the post office? Or?
Yeah, oh no, man. It was brutal.
515 for TJ Jackson, the first team All Big 12 selection out of West Virginia this year.
We got Ledette up next. Yeah.
That's right, another from Texas Tech here.
Again, the body types, you're starting to see certain conferences have certain body types at certain positions.
Yeah.
A lot of a little shorter, stouter,
stockier,
stockier defensive tackles in this conference.
We're kind of talking about that with Coach Dillingham, too, just the way that he's kind of observed, you know, as Arizona State made its way into the Big 12, the way the defense is run, the style of defense, the schemes that he sees more often, more frequently.
Three-man fronts.
Yeah, a lot of the odd fronts. Quincy Ledette. It's going to go 5-5-1. All right.
A little Baylor Bears here. Kind of a tweener here with my...
Yeah, 277 pounds. He's
running all right, though. He's running pretty well. Let's see what he gets. It looks like it's under 5. Give me under 5 here. What do we got?
We have defensive lineman number 19, Blake Mason.
477.
Yeah, I told you he looked like he was moving.
That was a really good time at 277 pounds.
Great time.
Talked to his coach, Dave Aranda. Kind of called him the master of all positions. Has played some D end, has played some D tackle, and at that weight, you know, said he's got the Aloha spirit, but boy, can he flip the switch. Which you like to see. Here's Blake Mangelson from BYU. Boy, BYU's got some height on him now. We were talking about, I want to say it was Kime earlier. 6'8". Mangelson at 6'5" and 279 pounds, running 5.06. Another converted defensive end, moved into a defensive tackle role, kind of out of necessity. Bulked up quite a bit to handle it. And here's Sean Martin. I want to see this time here, almost 290 pounds.
With 35-plus inch arms, too. He is long. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
We have defensive lineman number 21, Ronald McGee.
All right, 494,
That's
sub
a
5.
good time.
Yeah, certainly for Sean Martin. Brett Lewis, Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks. Watching the 40-yard dashes from the defensive linemen. And again, as DJ mentioned before we last hit the break, that you're seeing edge rushers and interior D linemen in this group together. So there is a bit of variance with the times just to kind of take into consideration.
And for those curious, we'll later on we'll get the 10 times, and we'll get those out to you as
The
well,
10s
which
will
are
be
important for these offense and defensive linemen.
Okay, we're going to check back with what we missed. Ronald McGee from Kansas at a 5.07.
279 pounds. 318 pounds of Tamon Mitchell here. He's going to hope to do a little better on the next one.
Yep.
Mott at 251 pounds. Again, just to kind of let you know where these guys are going to be, whether they're inside or outside.
That's right. Yep.
Makes the times matter a little differently here. Here's Mulbaugh.
Yeah, Mulbaugh from West Virginia.
5-1-1.
Transferred in from Penn State, 5-1-1 on the first run. Getting towards the end of the D-line group here. Well, not quite. We're about in the midway point, rather.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. There's John Nelson from BYU. Again, kind of curious as to where you'd see him fit at 271 pounds.
That's going to be, that's why the workout is going to be big for these types of players, is showing, where you can find a home for them. And again, we've got some draftable guys mixed in here, but a lot of these guys, at any pro day, if you go to, a lot of these guys are fighting to get the attention of scouts to get an invitation to camp and get an opportunity.
Elinus Noel the third.
Talk about compact.
Yeah. 339 pounds fitting there into a 6-foot frame. Was at Nicholls State to begin his collegiate career, found his way to Texas Southern, and then ending up at Baylor. It was, again, one of those things that you see a lot in college football now. Dave Aranda was the defensive coordinator at LSU before taking that job at Baylor, and was recruiting that area where Elinus is from, and had a connection with him coming out of high school, and he then moves on to Baylor. Coach Aranda does, and kind of rekindles that connection through the transfer portal. We see that a lot.
Yeah, and he's did it with Ika, right? Previously,
went
from LSU to Baylor because of that relationship. So yeah, you see that with coaches moving, not just players, that can establish relationships at previous spots, can lend to new opportunities for kids.
Big man moving.
Yeah, you're going to ask him to sit there and anchor against
Oh, yeah.
doubles and hang in there against the run.
Definitely one in that nose tackle role there at Baylor.
Yeah, you're not looking to rush the passer there. We're looking to just sit in there, hang in there, handle those doubles, let somebody else go run and make the play.
Yeah, coach just said that he's a real worker, and kind of built up his name through the smaller schools that I'd mentioned, and then got a chance to go put that skill set on display in Waco in the Big 12. All right, let's see what we got here. From Chidozie Nwankpa. Played for Coach Prime this year. Was going to be in the house over the course of the next 2 days.
Chidozie Awuzie was a Colorado kid too, right?
It does sound familiar. It does. 5'6" for Nwankpa.
Yeah, he was at Colorado as well. Chidobe's that Chidobe's all they
this
all
is
go.
Chidozie.
Yeah, but we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah, we're it's very similar. Very similar. Yeah, Tyron Bradley from West Virginia
this
here.
dude's striding it out a little bit here.
Depending on what this time is, we might need to make our own number and slap that on there. Might have earned it.
We had time number 30,
It looked good.
It looked like a good time. I agree with you.
Literally has no number on his shirt.
Okay, we're going to take that back and
Was that O'Toole?
that was O'Toole from Utah, actually.
What was we didn't get a time though, huh?
4.70.
Yeah, he looked like he was moving.
So that's our high water mark right now.
We got two 4.70s,
4.70s.
BJ Green and Connor O'Toole.
Nana Osafa-Mensah, interesting guy, grew up in the Fort Worth area, began his career at Notre Dame, had a bachelor's degree and a master's by the time he got to TCU, but wanted to play for his hometown school. So went home, said he got real emotional running out of that tunnel for the first time there in Fort Worth, and started every game for Coach Sonny Dykes this year. Here's Eric Phillips from Cincinnati.
He's running pretty good too.
Yeah.
A smooth run.
another guy's got some ability there as a rusher, DJ, and another guy you'd like to can get to the QB, but you like to see him finish just a little bit more. 4.81 is the time there for Phillips. I feel like we have that conversation a lot, whether it's in these settings or just talking about players on path of the draft. And, boy, you see the incredible athleticism and the measurables. And I feel like this year's class, Shamar Stewart is kind of the poster child for that. And what are some of the conversation points that go into that?
Well, there's still value in disruption versus production. Obviously you'd like guys to be able to finish and put sacks on the board. But when you're constantly winning your one-on-one battle, you're creating havoc in the backfield. Teams have different metrics now that we didn't have back then. We didn't have pressure percentage and win percentage and all those things. So you can project forward also in the college game with so many quick hitters, tunnel screens, bubble screens. The ball's out so fast that it's hard to accumulate big sack numbers in some of these conferences.
That's right. That's good context to have as you see some of these guys run and showcase their athleticism, and you go back and you look at the production over the course of their career or in any given season, and maybe it doesn't quite match up with what you would expect, but there's a lot of variables that go in there. Good time for Garmin Randolph. Goes 4.78 unofficial there.
Yeah, it's sick, over like 6'6". Yeah, as an edge rusher, 265 pounds. I think that's the most impressive. It's not the fastest 40 that we've seen, but just the whole package there was impressive.
You see Jeremy Robinson now from Kansas. I think Coach Leipold talked about him as, maybe again another odd front type player. Stand him up on the outside in a 2-point stance and let him go as an outside linebacker.
Yeah, racked up 5.5 sacks this year for the Jayhawks.
4.83.
And a normal, if you're at a school pro day, you're looking at, you're watching defensive linemen run. They'll kind of put all the different guys together, not just one position or another. But normally you'll have 3 to 5, draft eligible defensive linemen in a group. So it's a pro day here technically. But man, we've got how many defensive linemen? We've got 41 defensive linemen to go through.
Yeah, I mean, definitely has a little bit more of a combine feel.
Yes.
Right. But again, that's one of the benefits of this environment is, again, seeing guys that you maybe have similar grades on that are in those clusters together that can, maybe try to separate when you get to, evaluate apples to apples.
Well, I mean, look, I'll be honest with my process, and it's going to be, with some of the guys here with teams, you have the area scouts who know all these players because they've covered those schools, but then you get the over-the-top scouts and directors who maybe they don't have high grades on some of these guys. They haven't done them yet, but you're filling in these numbers, you're watching them work out, and I'm starring the guys that, okay, this is on my priority list. I want to go watch this player. I'm going to go watch that player. I want to do a little homework on them. Trying to pull some guys out of the pile.
And we talked about how this, joked about how this can kind of, take scouts, out of the school on the pro day circuit because we're bringing everybody together into, one venue to watch these 16 schools and these players. You should get a look at that 4.97 from Zacchaeus Strong. But I mean, it's not like the area scouts aren't in those buildings throughout the year and getting to visit with coaches and players, and people, support staff people that touch these players and that are around them.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little more proactive. I think you, in the past, could rely on the pro day to be able to get face-to-face with an academic advisor or, a strength coach. Now you have to try and, maybe you make another visit late in the fall to go get that extra, conversation or exposure with someone you have a relationship with.
Caleb Taylor, be one of those interior players at just under 310 pounds.
We have number 39,
Taylor was right at 6'4" even. 5'4", 5".
That's right.
Cody Watershield up next here, Oklahoma State. And some people might look, and you look at some of the production for some of these guys. You're like, gosh, they don't have a ton of production. Yeah, but it's still your opportunity. I mean, I've been at pro days where players had minimal production, but they popped at a pro day, and you went, oh, okay, let's give this guy a look. Maybe it just didn't work out for him at his particular school.
Yeah, you've also been at pro days where some guys with their vertical jumps have their feet end up at the same level as your shoulders.
Yeah, like, that would be the Reggie Bush. Yeah, Reggie Bush. I was wearing a sweet Tommy Bahama shirt in that picture, which was
so good.
Maybe 6 sizes too big. It was just a baggy clothing era.
It was. Took that one right out of Andy Reid's closet, didn't you? Don't you lie.
Yeah, I think Andy thought it was a little big on him when that thing was large that I was wearing. Woodkey?
All right, Dylan Woodkey. Just under 6'4", 261 pounds. Goes 4.95. All right.
We got Tavita Foto here.
That's right. Utah.
Utah's always going to have defensive linemen that even if they aren't going to get picked, they're going to get in camp because you're getting a tough, physical kid.
Coach Whittingham, I mean, that is
usually not a kid. I shouldn't use that word. Usually they're older, more mature.
Older. Yep. Fotu, really nice game against Houston this past year. 5 tackles from his D-line spot, runs 5.28.
Bradley here. Is this the last one?
This would be the last one of the first run.
Oh, no, we're going to
linebackers.
Steve Linton, we're rolling right into LBs, yeah.
Yeah, well,
he's an interesting one.
Yeah, he's going to move into the D-line group because of what he did at Baylor.
Yeah, he's a fun player to watch.
Yeah. Saw him at the Combine.
He's got really, really long arms. 34.5-inch arms, and he can move. See, I'm anxious to see this time.
All right, let's see the time here. Steve Linton making a short drive from Waco. 4.81.
I thought he would have run even faster than that.
We'll get a second run for him.
He's got a good get-off when you watch him rush off the edge. He had a great game against Colorado. They couldn't block him.
Okay, we're going to get a little versatility here with our next run, running with the defensive lineman. It's the tight end from Utah, Miki Suga Turanga.
Give him a look here.
More you can do. Suppose he could have run with the tight ends as well, but maybe you're going to get a little workout here.
Yeah, I think that's somebody requested.
Yeah. Is this our next Pegues from Ole Miss?
JJ. Yeah, he's running good.
Yeah.
At least he got out the gates good.
He is going to be doing some of the drills with the defensive linemen, so excited to see maybe get a little position switch possibility here. 4.84 is the 40-yard dash for Suga Turanga. All right. And now we are back to the top with Isaiah Bagna. Ran just under 5 on his first run. Let's see if he can best that time. Again, came from Boise State.
What time did we get on Bagna here?
Let's see if he...
Yeah. Stick with that first time.
Yep. We'll go with the 4.97 on that one. See what the official comes in at. Although I guess without the laser time,
I think
kind of choose.
These are the officials. Is basically what we're going with here.
Yeah.
I always joke though. I check in with scouts at pro days to get times on players, and I can always tell who has high grades based on times. You get a bunch of times that are 4.53, 4.56, and all of a sudden you get a 4.42. You're like, wait, how big is your grade on that guy?
Yeah.
Ricky Barber.
Yep, starter in all the games that he played this year at UCF. Missed a couple due to injury.
UCF, I think, is well positioned. They're in a good conference here with the Big 12. You've got the state of Florida to recruit in high school. Even if you're getting, the third, fourth, fifth guys after they've passed on, maybe Florida State, Miami, and Florida, there's still so much talent in that state. And you have a chance with the portal to get bounce-back kids who grew up in Florida, go away, it doesn't work out for them. UCF's a great landing spot for them to come back home.
And Scott Frost has won there before.
Yes, he is very, very well accustomed. Yes. And he's got a new parameters now with the way college football is set up that I think will benefit him.
Oh, without question. Still in the American then, right, when he was there.
National champs, right?
Well, yeah, that's right. All right, to Braylon Carroll back here again. Ton of production. The frame's not going to necessarily excite you in terms of norms for a defensive lineman, but boy, they loved him at Texas Tech.
First run through, he had a 5.26. He got a little better here with a 5.25.
DJ, just so you know, I decided to not participate in my 40-yard dash at the pro day. I had a sprained thumb.
Well, it's smart. Yeah, but you can't run fast with a bad thumb. I mean, how are you supposed to get a good start with your hand down?
That's what I'm saying. Still waiting on the combine invite, but that's all right. Jeff Clark coming up here, just under 6 foot.
I graduated in December. They called, so you come back for the pro day. I said, I've already got a job.
Yeah,
I'm good. Thanks.
We're good. Now, we should talk to the resident pro day star in our group, Bucky Brooks, down there. Buck, what was your pro day time? What'd you get in there?
Guys, you got me?
Rumor has it was like he was in the 4.3s.
It might have been way back in the day.
It's so fast he doesn't want to tell you.
That's what it is.
He's just humble. He's humble like that.
They can't hear me.
That's all right. All right, back here at the Big 12 Pro Day in Frisco, Texas, catching up on some 40s that we missed. Keith Cooper Jr. with his second run makes it at 5.08, so right on, matching his first time. Javier Derritt from Kansas go just a shade slower than his first time at 5.27. Obi Ezigbo running 4.88, again, matching that first time exactly.
Dalen Dotson, no second 40.
That's right. Just going to stand on that 5.13. Van Fillinger, 5.01. And that brings us to Caleb Fox. 5.38 on the first time at 317 pounds.
Boy, by the way, the TCU campus, I don't know if you've been on that campus at all lately. Holy cow, that might be one of the prettiest campuses in the country.
Let's go.
I was there last summer, and yeah, it's
not far away. Take a trip.
No, it's
take a little campus tour.
Incredible.
Bucky, we've been waiting with bated breath, as I'm sure everyone at home has, since we teased your 40-yard dash time at your pro day back in 1994.
Yeah, like now that I'm back, so we had an opportunity to run something in the 4.3s, 4.36.
Let's go!
Will be the official time after a very disappointing combine workout. They had me in the 4.5s because you guys like to post at 4.54.
That was a bad deal, Buck.
Official, bad week. Didn't handle pressure well.
Hey, Buck, how old do you feel when I tell you that was 31 years ago?
It's so bad. But you know what? I feel great because Aaron Glenn is a draft mate. And so when I see Aaron
same
show
draft
up
class,
fully grayed out.
Oh, yeah. See that? You felt good about yourself there.
I got a little salt, a little salt and pepper. But, yeah, we've migrated. AG is now head coach with the New York Jets. And so I don't feel as bad.
That's funny.
So 4.70 is our top time of the day, and it comes from BJ Green, one of two. Connor O'Toole also hit a 4.70. So Green going to try to get this thing maybe a slight under 4.7. Let's see what we got.
You know, I'm glad Green elected to run and not sit out because of a.
Stick with that first one.
Yep.
4.70 doesn't look bad on the card at all.
No, you'll take that. TJ Jackson getting out of the gates 287 pounds, had a 5.15 on that first run through.
Buck, we were talking earlier, and I don't know if you heard us, but we were talking about the different conferences at certain positions have particular body types. Have you noticed that from this group of defensive linemen?
Yes, I absolutely have noticed that. And I want to say this being the most respectful that I can be, but like some of these D linemen are like a bunch of fire hydrants, like little plugs, right?
Yeah.
Like a little
Yeah.
short, stocky, stout guys.
Here's one right here.
Tough against the run. A lot of those guys in the conference.
Quincy Ledet, 6 foot, 310 pounds.
Do they still, Buck, you think in the draft room they still use the term sawed off like we did back in the day?
I was wondering if we could
Draft
still
terms.
use those terms.
Sure.
Yeah,
Like, I
there's
didn't
a
know
lot
if
of
we
different terms.
Sawed off. I even thought like is fire hydrant being offensive?
Well, I wasn't going to
Talk
say
about that.
sawed off, but once you went fire hydrant, I thought that I had the liberty there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you opened the door on that one.
here's Ledet
All right,
Jr.
Quincy got a little bit of a false start on that first one, or first attempt at the second one, I should say. Gonna re-rack this one. You know, Bucky, you've got an interesting, piece to share, as well throughout your NFL career, having getting, drafted as a receiver out of UNC. You made the transition to the defensive side of the ball later in your career, and those are some of the things that I feel like evaluators can notice about guys here. We even saw it with the tight end from Utah, who's working out here as a D lineman, and we'll run some tight end drills as well. But that's just that's part of what a pro day can bring you too, right?
Absolutely. That's literally the story. That's how it happens. When you go through these drills, you may have a scout who falls in love with a player and is just trying to save him, trying to give him any opportunity. And so at that pro day, you not only look at the testing, you say, okay, well, those numbers are good. Maybe I can move them around and find a spot for him. So after everyone leaves, you kind of put him through another workout at a different position, so you can tell the coaches, like, hey, he may not be able to make it at one position, but maybe he can be a project at another. And that's what pro days are really designed for, to be able to check out the athleticism, to see the possibilities based on how athletic and explosive a prospect is.
Look, I think about these workouts, and we're talking about some of these players who don't have a ton of production, haven't had a lot of opportunity. I always go back to our days with Matt Castle.
Yes,
got his opportunity at the pro day, and
Great one.
got himself a long career out of
And
it.
he got drafted.
that might be the best. That might be the best pro day story I've ever witnessed, because DJ, you may not remember, but that was the time that we couldn't get Lindell White to run, right? Lindell White, all you need to do is, and I'm working for the Carolina Panthers at the time. I'm like, Lindell, I just need a time. I don't care what you want. I just need a time. Like, we like you, this, that. We can't get him to run. Meanwhile, Matt Castle is over there throwing on the other field.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone's paying attention. And then he gets drafted. And in the rooms, when people get drafted, people are always like, hey, man,
What do we have on him?
Yeah, what do we have on him?
Yeah.
I was like, Coach, he never played.
Yeah.
He legitimately never really played, but knowing LA now, he is a high school legend in his city section, leading his team to a championship and those things. So you never know. It only takes one.
That's right. Blake Mangelson improving his time on his second run, one of the few that's been able to go faster on the second run thus far. Goes from 5:06 to 5:01, so inching closer to a sub 5:40 there. Here's Sean Martin, 289 pounds, 4.94 on the first one.
Kind of popped up on that one.
Yeah, 4.96. So he'll stick with his combine time of 4.88 there.
Normally the benefit of working out at the pro day is you typically run faster because the conditions are ideal for you.
Well, you're not having those long days either. You've had those long combine days. That can impact some guys.
Yeah, and it used to be with the medical thing and all that. It was rare that you would find someone that could absolutely blow up the combine. So the pro day was always the fallback.
Mitchell, 318 pounds. First time was a 5.71. Let's see if we got under that here.
Come on.
Stick with that 5.71.
Yeah. 5.76 on that second run for Timon Mitchell. Now, we got to go back and watch his interception this year at TCU. that return's got to be some. That's got to be some good TV. Come on. See that big man run that way.
Brendan Mott.
This is an interesting one. For me, he was the defensive lineman of the year in the conference. Talked to Chris Kleiman about it. Didn't get the invites to the All-Star game circuit, and they really thought that he was a big-time player for him.
Oh, he led the conference in
yeah.
sacks. 8.5 sacks.
I feel like he's kind of running that one nice and smooth. 4.97 on that first run for Mott, and gets a little faster on the second one at 4.96.
DJ, you guys brought up a really interesting
We'll get to
point.
the 10 times, which are going to be more important than the 40s when it's all said and done. But again, as an edge rusher, you're looking for
He's a technician, man.
Yeah, you're looking for a 1.61 type 10.
Oh, sure, in the 10s. We'll show you those
low
10s.
4.6s and a 40. You're talking about the premier guys.
Here we go. Fatorma Malba, 309 pounds, ran 5.11 on that first one. And that's it. 5.07 on the second run. It's a good improvement.
Big John Nelson here. First time through, 4.94.
Started 12 games at BYU.
Striding it out.
This guy that gets his hands up, right? If he doesn't get home at 5 deflections there at the line of scrimmage on throws. And we'll go 4.94 on the second run.
It's a DNA match.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bring up big Linus Noel here for the second run.
Am I telling tales out of school, or is a chance we might get a chance to talk to Travis Hunter and Shadur tomorrow? Is that possible?
Sound Shadur.
Okay. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, so I just want to know, there's a chance we might have Shadur with us. I think Coach Prime's going to be around here tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I know Bucky's going to get a chance to talk to Coach Prime, perhaps down in the field there.
Hey, Buck, as someone who played both ways in the NFL, if you were gonna be the consultant for Travis Hunter in his eventual workout, if he is going to do one for teams, how would you construct the workout?
I mean, there's so much to already see on tape, so I would give all the teams a little teaser on what I could be on both sides of the ball. Like offensively, I'm going to run all the routes and catch all the passes and do all the spectacular stuff. And then on defense, I'm going to do the same. But I just think wherever he goes and whoever takes him, you just have to have a clear plan for how you want to use him. I will say this because there's been a lot of conversation. People talked about Charles Woodson and Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey really played both sides of the ball at Georgia. But I'm saying Travis is a little different than both of those guys. To me, he's been more impactful and more polished as a playmaker on both sides than
well, he
the way
played
those
a
guys
lot
were.
more on offense than those guys did.
I mean, because what's different is he won the Bolitnikoff Award at wide receiver, signifying he was the best wide receiver in the country. And then he played defense and was lights out. So it's just a different conversation when we talk about two-way specialists.
Chidozie Nwankwa ends up a little bit better than his first run at 5.50 on the second. Connor O'Toole, who was one of our fast 40s on the first run, 4.70. It tied for the fastest. Just under 250 pounds. Oh, here we go. We're into the 4.6s, Deej. 4.66 on the second run.
He already had the star next to his name. He gets a double star there.
I like that.
I got a question, DJ.
Yes, sir.
So before, you were always an advocate for Travis Hunter playing wide receiver because there's more money going over there. But now I feel like with Derek Stingley kind of moving the money up to $30 million per.
Yeah, but Jamar Chase, look what he did to that money.
I know, but I know we're talking about like 35. So
yeah,
maybe just maybe the defensive coaches say, hey, There's a little more of a conversation to being able to make him a lockdown corner, as opposed to he needs to go to the offensive meeting room.
I think it depends on where he goes. To
Yeah.
me, if you're the New England Patriots, how do you look Drake May in the eye and say, oh, yeah, this guy who we got who's better at receiver than anybody on
We're
our
gonna put him on
roster,
defense?
we're going to play him on defense and let you play with him about 5 to 8
Yeah.
snaps a game? Like, that'd be a hard conversation to have with Drake May.
Well, I think this, because everyone is saying, like, oh, he's going to be taxed and tired and whatever. Like, I just think about the number of snaps in a pro game. It's significantly less than what you see in college. And the fact that he played every snap at Colorado almost on most games, I don't know. I'm pretty confident.
I
We're
just-
still
that he
talking
can
my
about
be-
thing-
140 snaps a
My
game.
thing is, though, when you're playing corner in college, Buck, and these formations are spreading you from sea to shining sea, and you're lining up on the sideline where you can darn near touch hands with your coach when you're covering him. Whereas in the NFL, they're going to bring you in these bunches, and they're going to make you have to be the force player against the run against grown NFL backs. That's what that's
Yeah.
the only thing that would concern me.
So watching Eric Phillips there on his second run, curious to see what Garmin Randolph does here. I know he didn't have the fastest, but again, at 265 pounds with big 6'6" frame there, he ran 4.78 on that first run. Caught our eye
He looks like a
first
basketball
time
player.
through.
He looks like he could be playing in the tournament on Thursday.
super
Buck.
long.
Let's see what we get here on the second run. Long stride.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's interesting.
We have defensive lineman number 33, Jeremy Robinson.
Okay, right on target with the first one, 4.78 again.
He does look like he'd be a
That'll get
good
a
player
star.
in the 2-3.
That'll get a star on the sheet, right?
Yeah, he got a star.
Yeah, there you go.
Buck, the other thing that scouts like about this versus the schools is I don't know. I saw food downstairs, man.
Oh,
you
the
feed
catering.
scouts. You
That
get catering
I
while you're
knew
watching
where-
guys run.
Look, I knew where DJ was going. It was already. I was like, he's gonna say something about the catering. And DJ, you're absolutely right. It was one of those things, right? Like as a scout, you're looking up there, and I'm on the main concourse, and I see like the NFL hospitality. And I was like, oh. So we got snacks, we got chips, we got all kinds of drinks. It was like a nice little.
I'll be right
spread.
back. I'll be right back.
like I was like,
Save that per
Okay.
diem for dinner.
yeah. Say a little per diem for dinner and.